Hello there. I'm so glad you've decided to spend some time with me today. You know, as we move into these wonderful later chapters of our lives, we often find ourselves thinking more about the future. Not with worry, but with a desire for order, for peace of mind, and for the comfort of knowing that our affairs are in good hands. We've worked hard, we've built lives we are proud of, and now it's about making sure that the things we've built and the decisions that affect our lives remain under our control, even if a day comes when we can't speak for ourselves. Today, we are going to sit down and have a long, thorough, and very calm conversation about a document that is often misunderstood. It's called a power of attorney. Now, I know that sounds like a very formal, perhaps even a bit of an intimidating legal term. But, in reality, it is simply a tool of love and preparation. It's a way to tell the world, this is who I trust. It's a way to ensure that your bills are paid, your medical wishes are followed, and your home is protected. Over the next 40 minutes or so, we aren't going to rush. We are going to take this step by step. There is no pressure here. We are just two people talking about how to make the road ahead as smooth as possible for you and your family. If you have a cup of tea or a coffee, feel free to take a sip. We have plenty of time to get this right. In this video, we are going to cover everything you need to know about the power of attorney. We'll start with the very basics, what it is and what it isn't. We will talk about the different types, because not every power of attorney is the same. Some are for your health, and some are for your finances. We'll also talk about the common mistakes that people often make. Sometimes, in an effort to be prepared, people rush into things and choose the wrong person, or they use the wrong form. We want to make sure you avoid those little bumps in the road. Now, why is this so important for us, especially once we cross that 55 or 60-year milestone? It's important because life is unpredictable. We all like to think we are invincible, but having these documents in place is like having an umbrella in the car. You hope it doesn't rain, but you feel much better knowing it's there just in case. Without a power of attorney, if something unexpected were to happen, even a temporary health issue, your loved ones might find themselves locked out of your bank accounts or unable to talk to your doctors. They might have to go to a courtroom just to get the right to help you. We want to avoid that stress for them. I've seen many families go through unnecessary hardship because they thought they had plenty of time to get their paperwork in order. I have seen adult children struggling to pay their parents' utility bills while their parent was recovering in the hospital, all because there was no signature on a simple piece of paper. It's these real-life hurdles that we are going to learn how to clear today. By the end of our time together, you'll feel like an expert on the subject. And, more importantly, you'll feel empowered. I encourage you to stay with me until the very end. We have a lot of ground to cover, and I want to make sure we don't miss any details. We'll talk about how to pick the right person to help you, how to actually fill out the forms, and what to do if your situation is a bit more complicated than average. This is about your legacy and your comfort. It's about making sure your voice is heard, even when you aren't the one speaking. So, let's take a deep breath, settle in, and begin this journey together. It's easier than you think, and I'll be here with you every step of the way. Let's start at the very beginning. What exactly is a power of attorney? In the simplest terms, a power of attorney, or a POA, as you might hear it called, is a legal document. This document gives one person the authority to act on behalf of another person. It's a way of saying, I trust this person to make decisions for me if I am unable to do so, or if I simply want their help. There are two main roles you need to know. First, there is the principal. That would be you. You are the one who owns the life, the assets, and the health decisions. You are the one creating the document. The second role is the agent, or the attorney in fact. Don't let that second name confuse you. This person doesn't have to be a lawyer. They are usually a spouse, a grown child, or a very close, trusted friend. And they are the person you are choosing to step into your shoes. Now, it is very important to understand that there are different flavors of this authority. The most common one we talk about is a durable power of attorney. The word durable is key here. It means that the document stays in effect even if you become incapacitated or unable to communicate. If a power of attorney is not durable, it actually stops working the moment you need it most. That's why, for most of us in our senior years, the durable version is what we are looking for. Let's look at another distinction: financial versus medical. A financial power of attorney allows your agent to handle your money. They can pay your mortgage, manage your Social Security checks, or even sell your property if that's what's needed to pay for your care. On the other hand, a medical power of attorney, sometimes called a healthcare proxy, is strictly for your body and your health. This person talks to your doctors. They decide which treatments you receive and where you should live if you can no longer stay at home. I want to pause here for a second and repeat that, because it's a lot of information. You are the principal. The person you choose is the agent. You want the document to be durable, so it lasts through any health changes. And you generally need two types, one for your wallet and one for your wellness. Does that make sense? It's about building a safety net that covers all the bases of your life. Think of it like giving someone a spare key to your house. You aren't moving out. You aren't giving them the house. You are just saying, if I lose my keys, or if I'm away and can't get to the door, and I want you to be able to go in and take care of things for me. You still own the house. You are still the boss. You are just making sure there's a backup plan. Now that we understand what a power of attorney is, let's talk about some of the mistakes people often make. I want to share these with you not to worry you, but to help you navigate this process with total confidence. The first, and perhaps most common mistake, is choosing the wrong person to be your agent. Often, we feel an emotional obligation to choose our oldest child or our spouse. But being an agent is a job. It requires someone who is good with details, someone who is organized, and, most importantly, someone who can stay calm under pressure. If your oldest son is wonderful but loses his mail and forgets to pay his own bills, he might not be the best choice for your financial power of attorney. It's okay to choose a younger child, or even a professional if that makes more sense for your situation. Another big mistake is waiting too long. To sign a power of attorney, you must be of sound mind. This means you have to understand what you are signing. If someone waits until they are deep into a battle with dementia or right after a major stroke, it might be too late to sign the papers legally. Then, the family has to go to court for a guardianship, which is much more expensive and much more stressful. The time to do this is right now, while you are healthy, clear-headed, and able to make these choices for yourself. A third mistake is being too vague. Some people sign a very short form that says, "My daughter can do everything." But banks and hospitals can be very picky. They like to see specific language, and they want to see that your daughter has the specific power to talk to the insurance company, or the specific power to manage your retirement account. Using a document that is too simple can sometimes cause red tape later on. We want to make sure your document has the teeth it needs to actually work when the time comes. Finally, many people forget to update their documents. Life changes. People move to different states. Children get married or divorced. And sometimes the person you chose 20 years ago is no longer the right fit. I always suggest that my friends look at their documents every few years, perhaps on a milestone birthday, just to make sure everything still feels right. If you move from Florida to Arizona, for example, you should definitely check if your documents need a quick update to match the new state's laws. And remember, this is a living plan. It's not something you sign and then hide in a freezer for 30 years. It's something that should grow and change as your life does. By avoiding these 4 mistakes, choosing based on emotion rather than ability, waiting too long, being too vague, and failing to update, you are already ahead of 90% of the population. You are doing a great job just by taking the time to learn this today. To really understand how this works, let's look at some real-life situations. Sometimes legal talk can feel a bit abstract, so let's bring it down to earth with some stories that might sound familiar to you. Imagine a gentleman named Robert. Robert is 78 years old and very independent. He lives in a lovely small town and still drives his own car. One winter, Robert slips on some ice and breaks his hip. He has to go to the hospital for surgery and then spend 3 weeks in a rehabilitation center to get back on his feet. While Robert is focusing on his physical therapy, his mail is piling up. His electric bill is due, and his property taxes are coming up. Because Robert had a financial power of attorney naming his daughter Sarah, she was able to step in easily. She took his checkbook, went to the bank, showed them the document, and the bank allowed her to pay those bills from Robert's account. Robert didn't have to worry about his lights being turned off or late fees piling up. He could just focus on getting better. Once he was back home and feeling strong, Robert took back the keys and went back to handling his own bills. The power of attorney didn't take away his rights. It just gave him a helping hand when he was temporarily sidelined. Or consider a lady named Martha. Martha is a widow and very close with her sister. Martha has strong feelings about medical treatments. She knows exactly what she wants and what she doesn't want. She fills out a medical power of attorney naming her sister as her healthcare agent. A few years later, Martha has a bad reaction to a new medication and becomes very confused and unable to speak clearly for a few days. The doctors need to know if they should proceed with a certain test. Because Martha's sister has that medical power of attorney, she can sit down with the doctors and say, "I know Martha. We've talked about this. She would want this test, but she wouldn't want that specific medication." The doctors have a clear path forward, and Martha's wishes are respected, even though she can't say the words herself in that moment. It removes the guesswork and the guilt from the family members. These situations happen every day. They aren't always end-of-life situations. Often they are just middle-of-life bumps where we need a little extra support. Having a power of attorney is about making sure that when those bumps happen, your life doesn't stop moving. It's about keeping things steady for you and your family, so you can focus on what matters, your health and your peace of mind. So, you might be asking, how do I actually do this? What are the steps? I'm glad you asked, because it's actually a very straightforward process. We can break it down into 5 simple steps that you can take at your own pace. The first step is to have a conversation. This is the most important part. Sit down with the person you want to choose as your agent. Ask them, "If I ever needed help, would you be willing to handle my finances or my medical decisions?" It's important to make sure they are comfortable with the responsibility. You'd be surprised how much peace comes just from having this talk over a cup of coffee. The second step is to decide exactly what powers you want to give. Do you want them to be able to sell your house or just pay your monthly bills? Do you want them to have power immediately, or only if a doctor says you are incapacitated? These are choices you get to make. You are the one in charge of the document. You can make it as broad or as narrow as you like. Step 3 is to get the actual forms. Every state has its own specific requirements. You can often find these forms at your local senior center, or you can have a lawyer draft them for you. There are also many reputable resources online where you can find state-specific power of attorney templates. The key is to make sure the form is valid in the state where you currently live. The fourth step is the signing. In almost every state, a power of attorney must be signed in front of a notary public. This is just a person who verifies that you are who you say you are and that you are signing the document of your own free will. Some states also require 1 or 2 witnesses to be present. It's a very quick process, usually just 10 or 15 minutes at a bank or a local shipping store that offers notary services. Finally, the fifth step is distribution. A power of attorney doesn't do any good if it's locked in a safe that nobody can open. You should give a copy to your chosen agent. You might also want to give a copy to your bank and your primary doctor. Keep the original in a safe, accessible place at home and tell your family where it is. By following these 5 steps, talking, deciding, getting the forms, notarizing, and sharing, you are creating a solid plan. You don't have to do it all in one day. You can take a week for each step. The important thing is just to start. You'll feel a wonderful sense of relief once that final paper is signed and filed away. I know that for some of you, life might be a little more complicated. Maybe you don't have children, or maybe your family lives far away in another state. Perhaps you are worried about family members who don't get along. If your situation feels a bit messy, I want you to know that it's okay. You can still have a very effective power of attorney. If you don't have a family member you trust, you can look into professional fiduciaries or trust companies. These are professionals who are paid to act as your agent. They are bound by very strict ethical rules, and for many people, this provides a great deal of comfort, knowing that a neutral third party is handling things. It takes the family drama out of the equation. If your family is spread out across the country, don't worry. In our modern world, an agent doesn't necessarily have to live next door. Most banking can be done online, and doctors can talk to agents over the phone or through video calls. What matters more than their zip code is their reliability and your trust in them. Just make sure they have a digital copy of the document so they can produce it whenever it's needed. Also, remember that you can change your mind. Nothing is set in stone. If you name your sister today, and 5 years from now you decide you'd rather name your daughter, you can simply revoke the old power of attorney and sign a new one. It is your right to change your mind as often as you need to, as long as you are still of sound mind. You are always the one in the driver's seat. I want you to feel a sense of confidence. No matter how complex your family tree might look, there is a way to make this work for you. Don't let a complicated situation stop you from protecting yourself. Sometimes, it's the complicated situations that need these documents the most. Taking this step is an act of courage and an act of clarity. It simplifies the future, no matter what your today looks like. Take another deep breath. You're doing great. We are almost through the most important parts, and I hope you are starting to see how manageable this really is. It's just about taking care of yourself, the same way you've taken care of others your whole life. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground today. It's a lot to remember: the types of POA, the steps to take, and the questions to ask. To help you out, we've put together something special. We've created a simple, professional PDF checklist designed specifically for our community of people, 55 and older. This checklist is completely free. It's just a way for us to help you organize your thoughts. It lists the questions you should ask your potential agent, a place to jot down where you keep your documents, and a simple step-by-step guide to the whole process we've discussed. You can print it out and keep it on your kitchen table or share it with your family. You can find the link to this checklist right down in the description box below this video. There's no catch. It's just a resource to make this easier for you. We want you to have all the tools you need to feel secure and prepared. If you find it helpful, Feel free to let us know in the comments. We love hearing how these resources are helping you take charge of your future. Before we wrap up, I'd like to answer a few questions that I hear very often. These are the things that people usually wonder about after our first conversation. One question is, does a power of attorney give my agent the right to take my money and spend it on themselves? The answer is a very firm no. Legally, an agent has a fiduciary duty. This means they are required by law to act in your best interest, not theirs. If they misuse your money, they can face serious legal consequences. Another common question is, does a power of attorney take away my right to make my own decisions? Not at all. As long as you are capable of making decisions, you are the boss. The power of attorney is a backup. It's like a co-pilot. If you are flying the plane just fine, the co-pilot just sits there, and they only touch the controls if you are unable to do so. People also ask, does a power of attorney last after I pass away? This is a very important one. The answer is no. A power of attorney ends the moment the principal passes away. At that point, your will or your trust takes over. The power of attorney is strictly for while you are alive. Lastly, I'm often asked, do I need a lawyer to do this? While you don't always need a lawyer, many people use standard state forms, it is always a good idea to consult with a professional if you have a large estate or a very complicated family situation. A little professional advice can go a long way in giving you that final bit of certainty. Well, we've reached the end of our conversation for today. We've talked about what a power of attorney is, why it's so important for those of us over 55, and how to avoid the common mistakes that can cause stress later on. I hope you're feeling a little lighter now, knowing that these steps are within your reach. Remember, this isn't about worrying about what might go wrong. It's about ensuring that everything goes right. It's about love. Love for yourself, and love for the family members who want to help you. By putting these documents in place, you are giving them a wonderful gift, the gift of clarity. You are making sure they never have to wonder what you would want. Please remember that this video is for educational purposes only. Laws can vary from state to state, so always check with a professional if you need personal advice for your specific situation. This is just the beginning of your journey toward total peace of mind. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It's been a pleasure to walk through this with you. Take your time, talk to your loved ones, and when you're ready, take that first step. You've got this, and you're doing a wonderful thing for your future. Until next time, stay well and take care of yourself.